now 9 o'clock at Brazos County Commissioners Court. Budget workshop for August 13th is now convened. Ms. Payne?
Good morning and happy Wednesday. We're halfway there. We're going to continue on with the personnel requests from yesterday. I do want to start with one request that was brought to our attention yesterday from Judge Swan from Juvenile Court Referee in Felony Court. She came in with a different request. Of course, the original request was to increase the court coordinator from Group 21, Step 14 to Group 21, Step 20, which would have increased the budget by $17,000. Her new request as of yesterday in front of the court was to increase the court coordinator's certified stipend for that she already receives from $3,500 to $20,000, which increased her request from $17,000 to $20,000. So I just want to remind y'all, so her request yesterday is more than her original request. Okay. Keep in mind that after we go through all the personnel today, we're going to go ahead and prioritize what needs to go into the proposed budget. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Watson?
Help me understand why we're doing a stipend instead of just make it a part of her base salary.
Many years ago, before my time, we didn't have a certified interpreter.
Yeah.
And so this person in this position comes with a certification in order to interpret Spanish. No one else in the county apparently had it at that time. Instead of increasing the salary based on, because this job is not required to be right.
Okay.
In the job description, if they want to hire, you could put it in there, but it's not required for this position to continue on if this person leaves.
Okay.
So the stipend was created, which was it was originally like $2,400. It received an increase several years ago to bump it up to $35, and now they're asking for additional $20. Now, we do have employees in this county who help translate that do not get a stipend.
So
It's not required.
I think, so for law enforcement, do they get a stipend? I know at the state, if you have the ability to translate, that they get an additional stipend for law enforcement.
I know
Does that-
DPS does, but I don't think that our sheriff's office, it might be in the career ladder, and that's something that we can ask them when they come up.
Okay.
Because
So
I was wondering if we do change this from a stipend, do we have to go back and look at all those?
I think it would be fair to open up a translation stipend because we have staff in HR, we have staff in the courthouse that help with translations. Their positions don't require it, but it is needed in our community. And that's something for us to open up, especially if we want to look at this next year to see the costs and what ranges would you like to do. Do they need to come with a certification? I think so. You don't want them to translate something that's not correct, but that's something that we can definitely look at.
Okay.
I think
So-
it's needed.
Are there tools out there? I don't know the answer, and I know that you might need to look into it. But are there tools out there with AI or that we can utilize?
But if you're in court, you can't have cell phones. Because usually you can do it on your
Correct.
cell phone, but you can't do that in court.
Well, and I talked to Judge Brooks, not to cut you off, about just that. Because you think about it, we can get Hispanic interpreters, but we have growing other minority populations who we may not have an interpreter for.
Right.
So how do those get addressed? And
I
so
don't
they're
know.
reaching out to
I
the
don't know.
Office of Court Administration to see if there's a way to get technology improved.
That was
Yeah.
yeah, it's not so much a cell phone, but actually a
device.
service or use that we have
We
as
do.
a county where we potentially embrace the technology that might be out there for multiple languages.
So we do. We have a contract with I cannot remember the company's name, but
Where you call and-
they're
right.
able to translate at that moment. The district courts use it. They're made aware prior to their court date if it needs to be translation. Sometimes on the juvenile side, I will defend them that if a juvenile comes in Tuesday, you don't have time to schedule an appointment with the interpreter over the phone because they're needing to do the court case, case that day. And so there's little issues on that side. Can it be done? Yes. They can continue to call the contract that we have. Is it more? Probably. They're paying a stipend, yes. but-
Really? Okay, that was my
So
question.
it's a person, so you call a number and there's a person of a particular ethnicity that you do the translation.
Yes.
But it has to be scheduled.
I do think it needs to be, I think most of them need to be scheduled because Mandarin, I think, is our #1 translations here in the county. You would think Spanish and other ones, but Mandarin is top.
I've gotten no stipend for all my Mandarin translation. Oh,
So I think it's something for us to look
I have donated
into.
that.
For the BS
Thank you.
meter.
But I think it's something that we need to bring back next year, especially if we get the compensation study approved. It needs to be, part of that because it is needed. And I think we need to award the people, the team in this county for doing additional duties. But it needs to also be in their job descriptions too.
No, I'm not complaining. I totally agree with that. I just initially wasn't understanding why just a stipend as opposed to, maybe I'm a little swayed by the judge's presentation of the work ethic and the work that this woman does above and beyond.
And the
I'm
audit.
thinking, okay, if she's that good, why are we just doing a stipend? But now I understand better. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any questions and I can move forward?
Commissioners?
Just moving forward, if there are tools out there we can use that might be less expensive,
There are. Well, it's just timing. I think they
right.
need to
without being an
Constraints.
undue burden to the court or justice
Yes, sir.
system, then I would love us to keep an eye on that.
Definitely.
Shay.
And the same with sign language also,
Yes.
yeah.
And they have to be either, zoomed in or present, especially during the court. Okay. So we're going to start off with the Sheriff's Office Administration personnel changes. I'll go ahead and read them off, and I'll ask for, I think Chief Stewart, both chiefs are here, and they could defend the request. For the first request is to increase their lieutenants. They are set on a salary range as of last 2 years. They're requesting to increase their salary ranges from $4,662 per pay to $5,235.05 per pay. Total increase to this is $74,000. They have 4 lieutenants. The next request is to increase their investigators. They're also set on a salary range from $49.04 per hour to a salary range of $50.24 per hour. Total increase of $25,000. The next 2 positions are already proposed in the budget is to transfer the recruiting specialist from the admin building to the jail where they're best suited because that's where they're needing help for recruiting. So we're just moving those 2 positions from one division to another, 0 cost. The next is to transfer, this is a grant. We're transferring $153,940 to cover the remaining salary benefits for the current BB Human Trafficking Task Force Development Grant. Next year, the grant will cover $90,000. After that, then Sheriff's Office will come to the court to ask for the full 2 positions to be absorbed by the county funds. Okay, total request is $253,482. And now I'll ask for the Sheriff's Office to come and do their presentation. Oh, yeah. I want to do the jail too, that way it can be all done at once.
Wanted to do one.
So the Sheriff's Office jail, same thing, personnel changes. They're asking for an increase on their 4 lieutenants. The same request, same amount, $74,532. They're also requesting an increase to their salary ranges for their detention officers. There's 103 detention officers, 103 positions. They're asking for the salary range to go from $31.43 to $33.81, which is the estimated cost of $547,245. And then the second is to increase administrative secretary from group 16, step 9 to group 20, step 10, an increase of $19,000. A total request for the jail is $641,000. I want to go back to the Sheriff's Office admin.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to see y'all again. Thank you for sitting through and letting us explain what our requests are. I know that there's a lot of things to consider, and we really do appreciate it. I know we're, it'll be day 3 days into it and a couple more to go. So really, I'm going to open it up to any questions at the very end. But I do have one of these changes that we consider a priority that I want to go into a little bit more detail about. But first, I want to start with a concept that we struggle with internally when we're making some of these recommendations. And one of those is when you're asking for increases to some of these positions, the thought about, are you giving somebody a raise? Is that giving, is that giving an actual particular person a raise? Or are you increasing the amount that this position makes? And something that's kind of hard to grasp is that we consider it more of, this is what we should be paying them. And what I mean by that is, if you look at historically inflation and the way inflation works, and there's the analogy about, slow cooking something. So inflation gradually increases, and me in particular, I think about when I first started, how much I was getting paid as a detention officer. And if you go back and do some of the math and adjust for inflation, it kind of gives you a different perspective on what we're asking for. So the point I'm trying to make specifically is somebody that makes $50,000 today, that's equivalent to making $30,000 in 2005. And so, we see a lot of these numbers and they're jumping up with equipment and personnel and everything. And so it's just something I want y'all to keep in mind and consideration, that inflation is something that happens every year. It's ongoing, and that's a battle. One of the battles that we fight is even internally, because we look at some things and see how much money that is, but you have to put it in perspective with where the economy is and a lot of other different factors. And then along with that, some of these positions, it's not actually giving a particular person that much money. It's budgeting for that for the maximum amount. And so we can clarify any of those when we get to to questions. Do y'all have any questions so far? I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but it's
Commissioners? Continue, Chief.
all right. Thank you. So the position that I'd like to focus on a little bit more in detail, in particular, that's the one that the administration and the jail is asking for, is in relation to the lieutenant pay. And what we're asking you to do today is support us in making a targeted adjustment to our leadership pay structure. We consider this adjustment part of a multi-year staffing and leadership plan that the county has already endorsed. A plan designed to keep our pay structures competitive, maintain stability in leadership, and position Brazos County as an employer of choice in public safety. It's a step that we've discussed before, and one we agreed would eventually be necessary to stay ahead of our peers. Across the region, other agencies are making strategic moves to strengthen their pay structures at multiple levels. Those changes are steadily shifting the competitive landscape, and the gap between what they offer and what we offer is widening now. Addressing it promptly keeps us in a position to attract and retain the caliber of leadership our community expects, rather than having to play catch up later through reactive hiring and costly turnover. We've already seen how this approach works in areas where we fully implemented competitive pay strategies. We've been able to attract skilled deputies from other agencies, bringing in experienced talent who can contribute on day one. While this specific adjustment focuses on leadership roles, it follows the same proven model, ensuring we can compete for and keep the best people at every level. For taxpayers, this is about more than dollars. It's about stability, service, and trust. When experienced leaders stay, our teams are guided by people who know the community, know the work, and know how to respond when it matters most. That means faster decisions, better outcomes, and fewer disruptions in service. It also means better trained teams, higher professionalism, and a culture of accountability that strengthens public confidence. Ultimately, this is about making sure the individuals making critical decisions in high-pressure moments are not learning on the job because we couldn't keep experienced leaders here. Taxpayers expect the county to field the best possible team every day, and this is how we make sure it happens. While the dollar amount of this request is significant in isolation, it does represent a fraction of the county's overall budget. And in return, we gain long-term leadership stability, stronger recruitment, and a clear succession plan, all of which protect the quality of service taxpayers expect. In short, this is a proactive, future-focused move. It reinforces our commitment to building and keeping a leadership bench that will serve Brazos County well into the future. And one more, just specific, when I mentioned that this is a plan that's been talked about, I realize that seats change in the Commissioners Court, and but this is part of a plan that we made a few years ago, and the lieutenants were left out of that initially for costs, and left out last year because of some other requests that were coming. And so this year, we're just asking for it to be fulfilled. And besides everything that I just said, one of the, talk about the future a lot, one of the immediate pain points for us is that the sergeant level is overlapping that lieutenant level so much that there's not a financial incentive to promote to lieutenant. And so it wasn't a mistake, it was just part of the plan. But again, year to year we come up here and there's different priorities. And so that's my hope, is that I can remind everyone that that was part of the plan, and why that we do it. And so, and with that, I thank you, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank
that
you,
may have.
Chief.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any questions for Chief Stewart?
Yeah, so recruitment, do you recruit lieutenants from within, or you bring them in from other agencies?
Well, our preference is that we recruit from within.
Okay. Are you losing lieutenants to other agencies, or are you losing them to retirement?
We're not losing lieutenants to other agencies, and that's exactly the point. We want to keep it that way. And we're trying to build the next generation of leadership from within. So there has to be a career path that new employees and new younger supervisors see, so that they stay and they don't derail earlier in their career.
What's
if
your
that makes
attrition
sense.
rate amongst your lieutenants?
It's very low. We just have retirement. There's 8 lieutenants, and so like I said, they're not leaving from that position to go to another agency. What the concern is who are we keeping right now that's going to be the next
At the middle level,
lieutenants?
your bench. How are you
Yeah,
building your
coming
bench?
along. Yes, sir.
And so you're saying the sergeant level is compensated higher than lieutenant currently?
They can be. It doesn't start higher, but
But
there's a-
your upper band on Sarge
the
versus-
experienced ones who would typically be putting in for lieutenant, and we do have some that have stepped up because they just want to take on that leadership role and responsibility, and those are great people, and that's who should be in there. But also, ultimately, there has to, again, there has to be some kind of plan for somebody that's early on in their career, seeing that there's a path here for them and not elsewhere.
Mhm.
Chief, what's the difference between the 4% COLA and what you're asking for here? Have you done the math on it?
Well, our original, and Nina could probably answer that a little bit better, but originally when we came up with this proposal, we didn't know there was going to be a 4%, and that number does reflect the 4% already.
I'll have to get that, Chief.
Okay.
So I don't have the specific number, but originally, that's higher than what we originally proposed, just not knowing.
Just off the top of my head, it looks like it's about $1,200 a year more than the 4%.
Yeah,
I don't
and,
have a calculator here.
10% more?
10% more?
10.9% increase above the 4%.
It sounded better the way that Commissioner Brown said it, but thank you, Nina.
Commissioners?
Any other question?
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks. And I do have a couple of handouts that I'll give you. There's kind of quick reference guides, and then, because I know y'all are
Please.
going to be giving a lot of thought. So I'll get those passed out, and then we'll be sticking around for later. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Payne, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. So in the past several months, the jail, the sheriff's office, administration, our health clinic, Commissioner's Court has been in discussion on the jail medical portion. It has been discussed removing, right now we're under contract to help bring some of our LVNs, RNs to help staff the jail clinic, which is very expensive. And so we're taking a different route this next year to hopefully staff them in-house, which means that we need to review how we have the jail clinic established. This request was in the direction of the Commissioner's Court to move the jail medical and make it separated into its own division. It's not called adult correction, I need to correct that, but it's called jail correctional medicine. That would be housed underneath our health clinic. Dr. Julie, she will help us manage it along with her staff, and she will help staffing this new division. The good thing is the positions that are underneath the jail medical will be transferring into this new division. What you see here right now is a decrease of 1.3 million. This is all the positions, 19 positions that were established underneath the jail clinic. So it will no longer be there. But on the next slide, you're going to see we're going to be increasing all these positions into the new division that's being created. And so right now there's 19 positions, so it'll be going away. They're on a different pay structure, and we're trying to align it to the outside LVNs, RNs to help bring the talent here to help us with the medical side. Sticker shock, but I have an explanation. This new division will, instead of 19 positions, we'll be bringing 22 positions. And this is where I'll ask Julie if she's present to help back me up as well, because she has more of the medical expertise than what I do. Currently, we will be asking for 22 positions. There will be one main nurse manager that will oversee the staffing, per pay $4,230. And keep in mind, we're going up the group and step. So as we create new positions, as we're creating new divisions, we're creating ranges. That way it will allow us to move in between those ranges to hire what we need based on certifications, based on expertise. That way we're not stagnant and we can't go above and beyond the step. The next is going to be 4 registered nurses, $48.08 per hour. When you're going to see 1 unfunded or 2 unfunded, that means that the position's there, but I'm not budgeting the salary. It's helping us save money on our side because it might take us a while to fund these, to find people in these positions to fund them. They can still hire them, but remember, we're going to base them on expertise, so we're not going to hire them at the max, right? And so we're going to save money in the long run until we get to where we're at the max based on their years of service, expertise, or certifications, or schooling. So out of those 4 positions, 1 position will be unfunded. The next will be 8 licensed vocational nurses. Their max range will be $33.66 per hour. 2 of these positions will be unfunded. 8 medical assistants with the max rate at $28.85 per hour. 2 of these positions will be unfunded. 1 medical clerk at the max hourly rate at $28.85 per hour. And then I'm requesting a correctional rotation health worker. It's a bucket of $20,000. And so if we have a rotation of nurses that can work during some off shifts, we could plug them in here to help offset some of the positions that we're not being able to fill. So if there's some nurses out at Scott and White that can work on Saturdays and we don't have enough staffing during that time, instead of putting them into a full-time position, we're able to rotate them as like a temporary position for now to help us get filled. The total request is $1.9 million, which is $601,000 increase to the budget. Keep in mind that I'm unfunding 5 positions to help control the costs. As we start to fill and fill these positions, then I'll start to unfund them, but it's going to be probably a couple years until we get to that point because we're not hiring at the max. Our goal is to not hire at the max, to truly hire between the ranges, okay? If I unfund more of these positions, it might be to the point to where we're going to start paying overtime because we're going to pay overtime until we get these positions filled. I'm going to have some money there to cover the overtime. And so I would prefer to leave at least 5 positions unfunded, and we'll evaluate each year what we need to do. Do you have any questions regarding this part of it?
What do the medical clerks do?
What is what?
The medical
What do the
clerks?
medical clerks do? What is their job description?
I am looking
what?
for
Clerks.
Julie, and I do not have her here to explain.
Is that something we can replace with technology? Because if they're just entering data, I don't know why we need another county employee to do that.
I have him. He's an old medical person. Let him do it.
Oh,
Thank you,
gee.
Chief Stewart.
I'm not gonna do them justice, by the way, but so the medical clerks, there's, just like any medical office, there's tons of paperwork, appointments that have to be set up, a lot of logistical type things that get done to help the office run. And so that's just a crucial part of it. And you were asking about, some technology and, the reason we haven't had to increase that before is we do have there's electronic medical records that we're using now that's been very helpful, just like when we go to the doctor. So they're utilizing some of that, and I'm sure the future, the way it's going, that there's a lot of stuff on the horizon. Yeah, but that's kind of a bare minimum, in our opinion.
And you may or may not know this. Are we using any telemedicine to address these issues, or is it all, we're going to have somebody sitting in the clinic at the jail?
Do you want to answer that one? I mean, I know that we do, but I'll pick up any of your stuff.
I can't remember Dr. Richards.
Sorry, I probably need the nurse here to.
I requested her to be here. So I'm going to do my best. So yes, we have a contract with Dr. Richards. He's kind of above all, but we still have to staff the clinic based on a rotation. And we have to have so many RNs, so many LVNs. Currently, we do not have that, and so that's where we're trying to thrive for. There was a study we've done in the jail that's recommending us to go this path. And so for the medical clerk, I believe that they're going to be sitting there. There's still paperwork. When they're being transported to the special doctor's appointments or to the ER, someone's still going to have to do the paperwork. Is it needed? I'm going to have Dr. Julie to explain that, and it could be revisited.
Okay.
Are we still using the company out of Arizona to
This is
staff?
our goal, is to not go that way, but until we have these positions filled, we're going to have to do it.
Okay, so
and-
we're using them now?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, yes. To what extent, I'm not aware. I couldn't tell you the full extent.
For the folks that are listening at home, I mean, this is, the state of Texas requires that we keep inmates, guests of our unregistered VRBO, that we keep them in great health, and a lot of the frequent flyers that come to that VRBO are not in good health when they get there, and we are,
Correct.
by state mandate,
To give them the same care.
we spend a lot of money taking care of folks that maybe aren't always taking care of themselves, and it is mandated by the state. So this is one of those things, if you're wondering why are we spending all this money on medical, that is why we have to. And
Exactly.
yeah, I just feel like it's important for people to understand that it is a state mandate that we do these things.
Correct. And I try to curb the cost as much as possible to where it's not such a big sticker shock. But even if we left this underneath the jail, we were going to have to do the same thing.
Yep.
And so restructure it to where, because we're having trouble finding people.
Right.
And you would think that the nursing field is, the place to be. But because of COVID, I mean, they're tired. And so we're going to have to find a new way to bring these people in.
A lot of nurses retired.
Well, if you slow down, I think your guest of honor just showed up. or nope?
No, that's not,
Sorry,
oh, you thought that was.
misidentified, sorry.
No, no, no.
She ran away.
That, just that, having come from healthcare philanthropy in a previous life, the COVID, a lot of nurses retired. There are traveling nurses still, not as many, but I've talked to these are young folks. They get their RN, they buy a fifth wheel, and they drive to another state and make $200,000 a year,
Yep.
$160,000 to $200,000 a year.
Yep.
For a couple of few years, and then they go back home. That's what we're competing against.
It is, and it's not as stressful as actually being in the field
Right.
24/7. These are going to be long shifts. They're going to have to work weekends. They're going to have to work nights. I'm not stating that the jail, the people who are at the jail are any better than the people at the ER or at the hospitals. They're the same. We still need to treat them the same, and so we need to make sure you hire all the expertise that we can.
Sure.
And not to be a Debbie Downer, but, if we have an incident if we were to have a medical incident, we're open to litigation that could cost far, far more than what you're proposing here.
Yes.
Because, every now and then, it hits the news that something has happened in the jail, and the court of public opinion sometimes comes after us in ways that, can be very negative also. So, it's sort of like what you're saying, it's required, but it also could have a significant impact if we were to have a medical incident or a death
Yes.
in the jail, because it is alleged that we're not giving proper care.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Debbie.
You're welcome.
Wah, wah,
I mean, but that's the reality,
It is.
Thank you,
Well,
Commissioner Watson. Here's,
Yeah, and I realize that, it just seems like more and more of my own personal medical care, I get telemedicine opposed to meeting with them in person, and I'm like, okay, maybe that, I'm sure it saves them money. So is there a way we can leverage that in order to provide the quality of care that we're obligated to do so? So,
Ed,
Well, and I know that there's been lots of discussions between nurse practitioner Julie Anderson as well as the jail in regards to this direction that we're going. And it is kind of unheard of. This is not common practice for us to handle this in-house, but we have a unique situation where we do have an employee clinic. We have a doctor under contract. We actually have 3 very good nurse practitioners that through that clinic that provide the actual provider base. It's that staffing underneath that we're having a difficult time staffing. Julie has willingly, maybe even to her own great detriment because of the hours that she puts in, working nights and weekends, but to take this on and the management of it in an effort for as the sheriff had previously talked to the court, trying to keep it in-house, having that control and controlling the costs. At the end of the day, and I think this is, very, as Commissioner Condola said, for the public to really understand, this isn't an effort for us to take care of what needs to be taken care of in the best possible way. It's going to take time to build up that staffing because of the challenges, but at the end of the day, it may not work, and we may have to go out for a multi-million-dollar contract in order to get this jail medical covered. But this is the best solution that we're able to come up with for right now.
But even more so, you're talking about, I forgot about that. So this whole medical thing is not only just for the jail, but they're also the county health care clinic for county employees. So the level of what they're having to do from a human perspective.
Yes. Well, and let's qualify that, county employees who are on our insurance.
Right.
And retirees.
Right.
So it provides a huge
But
benefit.
that's still the county and the jail.
Yes.
Well, it's all the county, but there are 2 entities that they're responsible for.
Thank you.
thank you, Ed.
Any questions regarding the jail?
Commissioners?
I was just going to say, we've been skating by in large
Yep.
part by the graces of Julie Anderson,
Yep.
who has been
Sheer.
doing
above
it's
and-
not healthy for someone
No.
No.
to long-term to work as much as she does.
Yep.
And she just cares.
Yep.
But we can't depend on one person for a county this size to
No.
keep us afloat like she has been.
And then 800 inmates as well. I'm using, an average 800
Right.
inmates. And so, including the jail inmates, we're going to go into the juvenile detention part of it. This next one is, there is a nurse at the juvenile currently that we're going to pull out of the juvenile side and place under the same type of division, but it's going to be called juvenile correction medicine. And the reason why we're keeping these two divisions separated is because they're still reporting that the sheriff's office will have to do based on inmate cost. And so we need to keep these two divisions separated so we can get a true cost of how much everything's between the two divisions. So this is another division, juvenile correctional medicine. This will house one nurse that's currently over at the juvenile detention. We're going to bring that position over, align it with the same ranges as the jail so we can rotate. Easier to rotate because if someone's position is being paid less than someone else's, then they're not going to go over there. So it's easier for us to rotate. So this is licensed vocational nurse, top range at $33.66. And they'll have the same rotation for $20,000. If that nurse is gone and we can't move anybody over there for a short term, and someone out in this beautiful world will be able to come and work for 2 days or for a shift, we can rotate them in, kind of like election workers. We can rotate them in or rotate them out, okay? This will be a total increase to this portion of the budget, $126,548.
We don't need to cover medical, having someone medical 24 hours?
Not at the jail, not at the juvenile.
at the
Juvenile is
ju-
set by different standards. They
Okay.
do want them there to be, to give medicine at a certain time. And with the staffing at the jail, we're going to be able to rotate if there's medicine that needs to be given at a certain time and there's no one there, they can run over there and handle it. We don't want to overstaff right now. We want to keep it as minimal as possible with the rotation that we could create between the two divisions.
And Judge, Julie is walking over now.
Okay.
If you have additional questions, she'll be available.
Okay?
So basically combining our resources, working more effectively.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll be able to still track costs on the back end on their timesheet. So if they go spend time at the juvenile and they're housed at the jail, we'll still be able to track the costs between the time.
Okay.
Okay? While she's walking over, I want to go into a little detail regarding the juvenile, which lets you see the decrease. Here's a position that we're going to move from the juvenile, the nurse, which is at $37.35, which is a total decrease to their budget of $115,000. Okay? Would you like to take like a 5-minute break and wait for
I think that'd be wise, just
Julie
in
to
case
come
there's
over
any
so we can stay on the
unanswered
subject?
questions.
Okay.
So 9:37, we'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
Can somebody tell her to quit running?
Yes.